Hello, and welcome back to the Alchemical Serenity Pagan podcast. I know I said in my last podcast on the winter solstice that I would be taking some time out to decide in what direction this podcast was heading. But I had a few messages from people asking me to continue writing and sharing my path. So here I am. For those of you who have just tuned in and perhaps haven't been here before, my name is Carolyn and I have been walking my spiritual path for the last 40 plus years. And I'm here to share, where I can, something that you might find useful on your path. There's no dogma and there's no you must do this or else XYZ will happen to you. We are all here for a human experience, and there are many things a soul chooses to learn in human form, and my role here has always been to guide people to find their own path. The one thing that should never happen is judgment, and those who judge are those who will tell you what you should and shouldn't be doing, and those who clearly have got a lot more to learn for themselves. Everything you do must come from the heart and be heartfelt towards yourself and others. If not, well, it's just the ego playing out or playing up. This podcast has walked the Pagan Wheel of the Year for a few miles over the last 3 years, and this year I am concentrating on some more monthly than the 8 festivals through the year. So before we dive in, if you are new and who you have just found me, then welcome. I hope you enjoy listening in, and please subscribe and join me for more each month. And also give my podcast a like. Now this tells YouTube that I have something interesting to tell people, and it lets other people know all about the podcast. And then lastly, leave me a comment. Tell me about your path, where you live on the planet, what do you do in January, anything or nothing, and whatever it is, it's right for you on your path. Sometimes you could just be leaving a little note of something that you're doing in the comment section, and somebody else listening in could think, oh, I might try that, and it could change their path. So you never know. Comments could change somebody's path for the better more than me waffling in the podcast. So today we're diving into something close to my heart and where I'm going to try and concentrate on this year, and that's spiritual and soul wellness. And we begin with the spiritual meanings of January. Now, no amount of spellcasting or manifesting is going to help you if you aren't walking gently and graciously along your path, and this is not something that happens overnight. So let's start our walk through the year. Now, if you stay with me to the end, you might find something that I'm adding in of interest. If you like to follow the seasons and you like to follow each month and the changing patterns of the year. But no cheating, no skipping ahead. Let's walk this path first, shall we? This month of January isn't just the start of a new calendar year. It's a sacred doorway into transformation. January is a gentle spiritual reset for the new year. It arrives like a soft exhale, a moment between what has been and what is yet to come. It's a month that naturally invites stillness, reflection and renewal. Beyond resolutions and beyond routines, January wellness can also be a spiritual practice, a chance to reconnect with your inner wisdom, your purpose, and whatever you consider sacred. January invites reflection. After the rush of December, the new year arrives like a blank page, calm, crisp, and full of possibilities. January wellness isn't about overhauling your life. It's simply about reconnecting with yourself in small, meaningful ways. This is your invitation to begin the year with intention and nourishment for your soul. So here are my points for walking through January. Begin with inner stillness. Instead of rushing into goals, January encourages a pause, a spiritual settling. So start with a slow reset, not a hard reset. We often put ourselves under the greatest of pressure to fix everything in January. But wellness isn't a race. It's a rhythm. So instead, why not try a few minutes of quiet each morning? Perhaps doing some breath work or meditation. Maybe sitting with a candle and simply noticing your thoughts. This isn't about emptying your mind, it's about listening to it. Stillness creates space for clarity. Set soul-aligned intentions. Rather than rigid resolutions, consider intentions that feel spiritually aligned or supportive, not punishing, and allowing yourself to ease into routines rather than forcing them or trying to find the time. If you failed on your resolutions list last year, maybe you set your expectations far too high. Think of January as a warm-up lap, not a marathon. Ask yourself, what do I want to feel this year? What qualities do I want to embody? And what is calling me forward? Choose a word or theme that resonates with your spirit, something like peace, courage, healing, or expansion. Let it guide your choices gently. Hydration as a sacred ritual. Water is more than hydration. It's symbolic of cleansing, renewal, and flow. Turn drinking water into a mindful moment. Whisper an intention into your glass. Pause to appreciate the nourishment. Imagine it refreshing your energy as well as your body. Small rituals can transform ordinary habits into spiritual practices. Cold weather, indoor heating, and the festive season indulgences can leave your body craving hydration. So make water a simple act of self-care by keeping a glass or a bottle of water within reach. You could add lemon, fruit, or perhaps mint for flavour. But hydration boosts energy, supports digestion, and will help your skin recover from any winter dryness. Move with presence. Movement becomes spiritual when it's done with awareness. Movement doesn't need to be intense to be effective. In fact, gentle consistency often beats dramatic bursts of effort. So perhaps try some stretching. Maybe if you like to do yoga, use it with intentional breathing. And if you don't like yoga, then try something like Tai Chi Qigong. These movements are gentle and very effective. Walking as a movement meditation. Just walk, perhaps with some gentle music to listen to, or just notice the sounds around you. Dancing to shift stagnant energy. Find your favourite music and just dance. Let your body lead, let your mind follow, and let your spirit be open. Your goal is to reconnect with your body, not punish it. Nourish yourself with seasonal foods. Winter foods naturally ground and comfort us. Eating seasonally can be a spiritual act, a way of honouring the cycles of nature. So focus at this time on warm soups, root vegetables, citruses of oranges, lemons, limes, grapefruits for brightness, and herbal teas. As you eat, pause to appreciate the journey of your food, from soil to table. And if you have overindulged, as we all do in December, then maybe your body is now craving simple roots and greens. Let your body tell you what it needs. Protect your inner sanctuary. Short days and grey skies can affect mood and motivation. Your mental space is sacred, and January's quiet energy is perfect for tending to it. So maybe you could consider journaling to release emotional clutter. This is something advisable for about 15 minutes every morning. Sometimes writing with intention if you have something you wish to focus on, and other times just write whatever comes into your mind and let it flow. Limiting digital noise and doom scrolling. Yeah, I know, we're all guilty when we're bored, aren't we? Me included. I start off by checking in with friends who are on social media. Before I know it, I am invested far too deeply in someone else's drama. This year, I am going to try harder not to be so invested. Creating a small corner in your home for reflection or prayer. Now, this can be a full-on altar if you wish it to be, or just a small space. A small space that you can go to just sit, and whether you pray, whether you make your intentions there, whether you connect with your higher self, your spirit guides, but it is in that area that all things like this happen. Also practicing gratitude each evening. What are you thankful for that day? Scheduling small joys throughout your week, like find small things that you would like to do that are simple. Maybe just take time for a coffee with a friend or a walk in nature. Remember, your mind deserves the same care as your body, and your inner world shapes your outer experience. Honour rest as spiritual restoration. Rest is not just physical, it's spiritual. It's where healing happens, where intuition strengthens, and where your nervous system resets. Sleep is foundational, especially after the festive season. And to support deeper rest, you could perhaps create a calm bedtime ritual. Read something uplifting before you go to sleep, and keep your evenings slow and gentle. Rest is a form of devotion to yourself. Connect with something greater. Spirituality doesn't have to be formal. It can be as simple as stepping outside and noticing the sky, lighting a candle with intention, practicing compassion, speaking affirmations, spending time in nature. It is about connection to yourself, to others, to the world. These are the heart of wellness. Celebrate small moments of light. January can feel long and dark, but it's also full of tiny sparks of hope, so celebrate them. Celebrate a warm cup of tea, a quiet morning, a moment of clarity, a kind thought, a deep breath. These are spiritual victories. Something that may affect your well-being each month is the moon. Several studies suggest that during the full moon, people may experience slightly reduced sleep quality, taking longer to fall asleep and sleeping for fewer hours. One theory is that the extra brightness at night subtly disrupts our circadian rhythm, while another points to evolutionary instincts, where brighter nights meant more activity and alertness for our ancestors. The term lunacy comes from the Latin word for moon, luna, reflecting ancient beliefs that the moon could stir emotions or behaviour. And while modern science doesn't fully support extreme claims, some research hints at mood fluctuations around certain lunar phases. This could be linked to changes in sleep, the light exposure, or even just social and cultural expectations tied to the moon's cycle. A good friend of mine was a nurse, and he worked on a psychiatric ward, and he said that there were occasions when the effects of the moon were noticeable in some of his patients. Just as the moon influences ocean tides, it may subtly affect the water in our bodies. After all, we are about 60% water. While the gravitational pull on humans is negligible compared to tides, some researchers explore whether lunar cycles could influence hormonal rhythms, like menstrual cycles, for example, or even fertility patterns. Interestingly, the average menstrual cycle length is close to the moon's 29.5-day cycle, which has led to centuries of folklore connecting the two. In many traditions, the moon is seen as a guide for health rituals, from planting and harvesting medicinal herbs to timing detoxes or medication practices. Whilst these approaches may not always be scientific, they can foster mindfulness and connection to nature and a sense of balance, which are beneficial for overall well-being. The moon rises like the sun and has specific times during its cycle, and something to remember is a full moon rises around sunset in the east, and a new moon rises at sunrise at the same part of the sky as the sun, which is why we can't see it. Something to reflect on is the moon and you. The moon pulls the tides, and maybe, just maybe it tugs at us too. On full moon nights, sleep feels lighter, dreams run wilder, hearts beat a little louder. Some say it's science and some say it's soul. But either way, the moon reminds us we are part of something vast, something luminous, and something very, very much alive. Working with lunar cycles gives us the opportunity to tap into the energies of the moon, which has quite an interesting control over us individually. You may feel it and understand it, and you may not. That doesn't really matter, but what does is knowing that it might affect you. At the new moon, we set our intentions, and at the full moon, we reap our rewards. So this month, the full moon falls on the 3rd of January. Now this has various names like stay-at-home moon, cold moon, wolf moon, or the Celtic tradition it's known as the quiet moon, simply because January was a time of rest and reflection. It will be a supermoon, making it look 14% larger and 30% brighter. Energy of this full moon is about resilience and finding inner strength to keep moving forward. Now the energy of the moon is about taking that steady walk through the month with courage and trust in ourselves. Now this full moon also falls in the sign of Cancer this year, and this brings about reflection and focus on your emotional needs. If you like to harness some of that energy on or around the 3rd, then why not create a piece of art under the full moon's light? Write in your journal under the full moon light again and capture your thoughts and feelings. You don't have to literally sit under the moon. You know what it's like in this country. Whenever you want to do something on a full moon, there's a cloud in the way. So wherever you are in the world, if you are lucky enough to have a full moon, then try doing something underneath that full moon's light. As soon as you know the full moon is in the sky in the evening, try something and just see if it makes any changes at all, having that energy around you. And go outside into the moonlight and let out one big old sigh, releasing all your fears and doubts into the ether, ready to move on. I was going to say let out a howl like a wolf, but unless you live in the middle of nowhere, there is a likelihood your neighbours may come rushing round to rescue you, or perhaps think you have gone completely bonkers. This month's lunar energy gives us a new moon on the 18th of January. Now this is all about clarity and grounded beginnings. Think of it as planting seeds in rich, fertile soil. Now the actions you can take now, even the small ones, can grow into something beautiful by mid-year. So it's less about rushing and more about setting a steady, intentional pace for yourself. The new moon is in Capricorn, which is associated with ambition, structure and practicality. So you may be wanting to focus on your career this year or creating solid foundations for the months to come. There are a few ways you can connect with the new moon energy, so perhaps journal your intentions, write down 3 to 5 things that you want to call in this year. Be specific, but leave a little room for magic. You could do a candle meditation, light a candle, close your eyes and visualise your intentions as if they've already happened. Not what you want to happen, not what you hope will happen, but they have already happened. Moon water. Place a jar of water under the night sky to charge with the moon energy and then sip it over the next few days as a reminder of your intentions. And remember, the new moon isn't about perfection, it's about possibility. You don't need to have it all figured out. Just take one small step towards the life you want and trust that the rest will just unfold in its own time. January wellness is not about becoming someone new. It's about returning to your truest self with clarity, compassion and intention. When you blend physical care with spiritual intention, you create a foundation for a year that feels grounded, meaningful and deeply aligned. This month, give yourself permission to grow gently, rest deeply, and choose what truly supports your well-being. If you do try any of the rituals, then let me know in the comments. And if you are feeling that fresh lunar vibe, then hit the button and subscribe for more moon magic. I know January for many people can be a difficult month, which is why taking care of your mental and physical self is very important. But remember, on January the 1st, we are 10 days the other side of the shortest day of the year. The sun has already started its return, and we have gained more daylight in those 10 days. And finally, at the end of each month's podcast, as I very slightly and cautiously mentioned at the beginning, I'm going to add in a short video of the field that my horses live in. Maybe with some music or possibly a small voiceover. I don't know. I haven't decided how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm going to just show you how my field evolves over the year. It's kind of a meditation thing. It isn't going to be for long. It's just to show you over the 12-month period, each month, how the field will change, because obviously the field stays the same, and in my field there are oak, ash and thorn. It's a very grounded field. It hasn't been changed by man's feet all over it. It's always been a dairy field for a dairy farm originally, and it now just has my horses retired on it. And it's a very, very beautiful and very, very magical field, and I want to share that with you. And I thought it'd just be nice to see each month how it changes, and then probably at the end of the year in December I will put all of them together as a reel, so there'll be 12 months, and we can see how the field has changed and how things have grown, and then just watch that circle of life. So that's what's going to happen at the end. That'll be coming up next. So I will let you watch that, and I'll be back in a few minutes. So I hope you enjoyed the little visit to my field. And that brings me to the end of January's podcast. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, keep shining as bright as the supermoon. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.